So we're now in Alberta and we are visiting my brother-in-law and his wife and two girls at their little hobby farm. So we've been here for a few days. Absolutely beautiful. Not the kind of scenery that we're used to in BC. Canada has such a varied landscape, and I'm really excited to be able to go across the country and see some more of it. It was so nice to be able to relax and spend some time with Scott, Jocelyn, Emily, and Daisy. Oh, and the goats. These goats are more like a herd of dogs. They made me want to add a couple to our menagerie. Can you imagine RVing with goats? These goats know how to open the door to the house, and they will come in and eat whatever they can find. That's why they have a gate. Yes, for you. The time came for us to head out, and we bid farewell to the last of the Rockies as we continued east. So we're spending the night tonight at the Medicine Hat Costco, where you can spend a night for free in their parking lot. We've had the security come by and take our license plate number down and description of the vehicle, and it's really quite a pretty little spot. That is the highway there. The train goes underneath the highway and along the bottom of that bank there and over here. There's quite a few places to check out around here. There's Princess Auto across the street. Down the road, going, I think that's north, there is the Costco gas place. There's also a Petro Canada that seems to have the cheapest diesel in town at the moment. There's also a McDonald's and an A&W down there. Then of course there's the $1.50 hot dogs at Costco, which is what we had for supper tonight. You can't beat that. Very nice. It's a fairly new Costco. Pretty sky too. In the morning, we packed up and headed out. Our next destination, Cypress Hills Interprovincial Park. I'm smelling squirrels. Now they can't see any. So we spent last night here at the Lodgepole Campground in Cypress Hills Provincial Park in Alberta. It's not too far out of Medicine Hat, and it's one of those parks that is in two provinces. It's in Alberta as well as in Saskatchewan, and it's just gorgeous. It really is. There's a lake where there is lots of campsites, and then you can go up the hill, which is kind of what makes this area unique in that it wasn't glaciated. It is the highest point in Canada between the Rocky Mountains and the East Coast. It's kind of cool. It's all prairies all around it. This area just got missed by the glaciers, and there's tons of trees and hills, and it's the highest point. It's just beautiful though. There is tons and tons of campgrounds. There's separate campgrounds as well as lots of campsites in the campgrounds. So there's lots and lots of space. You need to reserve your campsite, and you can do that online. We're getting 2 bars of signal with Bell here. The lake is good for swimming when it's warmer. It's not warm enough yet. There are free showers at the lake down by the campsites in that area, right down on the lake. And you do not have to be camping in order to use those showers. So if you are just coming out here for the day, if you're car camping or traveling in a vehicle that doesn't have a shower and you would like to use that, that is available. And it sounds like it's available year-round. Good hot showers, no shortage of water. The shower house is actually in a large parking lot down by the lake. There's a beautiful boardwalk type of walk along the lake from that point back towards Elkford. We didn't do that walk yesterday because when we were driving by it was raining. So there are lots of hiking and walking trails in the area, so if you are into that. We just got here just a few days after the campgrounds actually opened, or the park opened. The park office is not open 7 days a week yet. It's only open, I think, Wednesday to Friday, something like that. And we have seen very few campers. We're the only campers in this entire campsite. It is one big loop. I don't know how many campsites there are actually here, but there's quite a few. Big trees, not a lot of privacy with the big trees because there's no undergrowth, but it's still really pretty. There are squirrels, in case your dogs are interested. Our dogs have been thrilled to discover squirrels after several days of not seeing squirrels. We drove up past the Lodgepole Campground yesterday on this road. It's all uphill, and got to an intersection. You could turn left towards the golf course and the Reeser Campground, or you could turn right to a lookout, and that's definitely worth going to see as well. And it was where some ground sloughed away after the glaciation process, and absolutely spectacular views. That's definitely a place to check out if you come up this way. We got here on May 13th, which was my mom's birthday. And we are leaving today, May 14th, and heading to the Reeser Campground, which is a little bit more remote. We're going to check that out. I don't know if we're going to stay there tonight or not. Gracie knows it's time to get into her kennel. She always gets one of these delectables when she gets in her kennel. You got to go in first. Go on. Yep. You'll get it when you get in there. I know you love them. She has a nice bed in here. Nice and soft. Here you go. Come on. In you get. In you get. That's a good girl. Now you get your treat. I think it's funny how much cats love these things. Even the vet has them to give to the cats when they come in. We used to let Gracie just free range in the truck when we were traveling, but with the 2 dogs in the back and one of them being a little bit excitable, we decided that it was not worth the risk of her getting chased out of the truck and lost in a busy parking lot or something. So she now travels in her kennel. coffee for the road. When we arrived at Cypress Hills the day before, the visitor center had been closed, so our first stop was heading back there to see what there was to see. Inside the center, they have some really interesting displays on the local history and tons of information, plus a gift shop. As we headed to the Reeser Lake campsite, we were treated to this sweet sight of a new little family. So cute. After driving through some spectacular scenery, we drove down into the valley where Reeser Lake and campsite were located. We were so surprised to see white pelicans in the lake. We don't get those in BC, and had only ever seen pelicans while we were on vacation in Mexico. After checking out the campsite, and it still being quite early, we decided to take the risk of driving into the Saskatchewan side of Cypress Hills via the back gravel road, which we were told was not something you want to do when it's wet. We found out a couple of days later why this warning is there. But the road was dry, so we decided to give it a try. We didn't run into any other vehicles the whole way and had no issues at all, just taking it slow and steady and stopping to take in the gorgeous views. This little creek is called Battle Creek. It eventually ends up in the mighty Mississippi, which is a long way away and is hard to believe. We are currently in the Saskatchewan half of the Cypress Hills Interprovincial Park. We drove the back road yesterday, which was not a bad road, but with the trailer we just didn't want to take it too fast and have everything flying out of the cupboards. So it took us quite a while to get here. This is one of only a few campgrounds on the Saskatchewan side of the Cypress Hills Park. We stopped at one a little further back along the road that had 3 people camping in it in RVs, and just now 2 more quite large RVs have passed by us here and have carried on to that one. It's $18 a night, and it is kind of self-serve. You fill out your envelope and stick it in a slot with your payment. There is another campsite past us going towards the Saskatchewan side that is an equestrian campsite for people who are bringing their horses out. And also further along the road here is the ranger station, sort of up and over that hill there. I walked up there last night, but there didn't appear to be anybody there. That is an outhouse over there. It is immaculate. It's probably one of the cleanest outhouses I have ever been in. It's actually quite lovely. The lady's been here twice cleaning it out this morning, dropping stuff off, because this park, I guess, officially opens, or the campgrounds officially open today. We're staying here for 2 nights. Somebody has built a little log structure here. There are 4 campsites or tents back here in the trees, and 3 out where we are just out there. Weather is beginning to turn on us a little bit here. It's starting to drizzle, And it's always been windy. It seems to be very windy in Alberta and Saskatchewan so far. We've had rain on and off this trip already, but Manitoba, which is the next province after Saskatchewan that we'll be heading to, is in a bad state with fires, and we are going to be stopping and visiting a friend there, so I'm hoping that's not going to be a problem with the fires. They supply firewood, garbage, and recycling over there. This is the road that we came in on from the Alberta side of the park. It was all gravel. This is part of the road that's in pretty good shape. There were places where it would have not been good to be pulling a trailer on in the wet. The road was dry, we were fine. You can see the other campsite over there. So with the 3 that were there originally and then 2 pulled by here just a few minutes ago, there'll be 5 RVs over there. It's just a great big grassy area. It's not very level, so you'd have to be able to level up. There's also tent sites over there that you can just walk into. So we've had our little walk. It's starting to rain a little bit more right now. So the dogs and I are going to head back to the trailer. You get cell service here. We're getting 2 bars of cell from Bell while we're here. So we have internet and cell service, which is really nice. So this morning we're heading over to Fort Walsh. It is the opening day of Fort Walsh here in the Cypress Hills Interprovincial Park on the Saskatchewan side. There are, I think, 4 tours today, so we're going to get there in time to do one of those. We're not sure how long it's going to take us to get there because it's mostly gravel, and then we hit pavement into Fort Walsh. We also have a pass from Trev's ranger outfit that he is involved in up in the Yukon, that because it's a national park, it's supposed to get us in for free, so we're going to be testing that out as well. We left early on that chilly, foggy day and stopped at the ranger station to refill our drinking water containers from a tap by the road. We met the lady who had been cleaning the outhouses there, and she informed us there was no way we would make it out of there with the roads being as wet as they were. Don't tell Trev that. He's always up for a challenge. Taking it slow and steady and getting somewhat of a run at the hill in front of us by backing up, we plowed our way through what had been a solid gravel road, but was now a slippery, slimy quagmire of muck. The front of the trailer was caked with mud by the time we covered the 6 kilometers to the pavement, but we made it without a problem, and we were very thankful to see the solid pavement. We're now at Fort Walsh. You're allowed to bring your dogs into the visitor center as well as into the fort. But right now I am walking the dogs because Una was so excited she wanted to talk to everybody, and she is a husky dog, so she does a lot of talking, was interrupting conversations. So I'm out here hopefully getting her a little more calmed down, and there's a hawk flying over there. It's hard to believe now, but this quiet spot was once at the center of some pretty wild times. The fort was built back in 1875 by the Northwest Mounted Police, just a couple of years after the Cypress Hills Massacre, where some American wolf hunters got into it with local Indigenous people. A violent clash that really pushed the Canadian government to get control of the lawless West. So we are the first tour of 2025 for Fort Walsh. It was named after Inspector James Walsh, who quickly became known for his calm, steady way of handling things out here. Under his watch, the Mounties worked to shut down the whiskey trade and build trust with the local Indigenous nations. One of the most interesting chapters in the fort's story took place when Sitting Bull and thousands of Lakota Sioux came north after the Battle of Little Bighorn. They found refuge in Canada, and Walsh gained a lot of respect for the way he dealt with Sitting Bull, firm but fair and respectful. By the early 1880s, the fort's job was pretty much done, and the Mounties moved their headquarters to Regina. Fort Walsh was eventually abandoned, but it didn't stay forgotten. Decades later, it got a second life as a horse breeding and training center for the RCMP's famous musical ride. Today, it's been beautifully reconstructed. You can walk through the parade grounds, look inside the log buildings, and imagine what life must have been like out here in the middle of nowhere, keeping the peace on the frontier. It's one of those places where you can feel the history all around you. All right, that's it for this stop. We're heading off to our next spot, so make sure to stick around for the next video. You won't want to miss where we end up next.